us perhaps our blind spot, which is kind of important, because if it's a blind spot, that means we can't see it. Somebody else help us see it. That's why the cars now have blind spot protection. The other piece of understanding that we get is the other person gives us understanding. The confidant gives us understanding. They give us love and understanding. And perhaps they share with us something similar. So it's really important to remember. We go back to this. What we found out in the second thing is that somebody else has already done it. Someone, whatever it is, what in that regret list, whatever's in that regret list that we've done that we thought was really terrible, someone else has already done it. Don't think you're unique. Someone else, oh no, nobody ever thought this, or no, that's your ego telling you that you're unique. Someone else has already done it. Not only has someone else already done it, someone else has already overcome it. So if they could, so could you. And the resentment. Who am I mad at and why? We may feel horrible about, there may be some person in our life that we've got this idea, if it's a parent or somebody like that, we've got this like race mind in us, the superego in us that tells us that we're absolutely supposed to love our parents unconditionally, and we should, and our, and we find ourselves sometimes hating them. We find ourselves so upset with some of the things come back to our mind, and this causes all of this guilt. You are not alone. Someone else has already done it. All kinds of people. Ken Wapnick said it's the perfect opportunity to create guilt. Give yourself some parents. Part of the plan, Glenn. We agreed on it. And especially, some people talk about their parents, and it really was not a good experience. I mean, really kind of a negative experience through the whole thing. Some people, though, will tell you that their parents were kind and good and were very supportive and went all through this stuff, and they still have resentments about certain things, right? Then that really caused some guilt, right? So we share this thing with others, and we get an understanding. And there's a couple of other ideas here that I want to share concerning this, and some inspiration comes from this. That when we open ourselves up, when we're open and receptive, and that's this whole thing about. I heard something this morning, and I might explore it a little bit more. There's a woman named Brene Brown, and she's a college professor, and she teaches just masters and PhD people now, but she's written a couple of books, and she talks about the value of vulnerability. The value of vulnerability, to share your story with people in an open way, to make yourself vulnerable so that your heart will open up. We may be talking some more about that in the future, but here, this is a core idea in this piece right here. We start with a confidant, and this. Listen, being vulnerable with people doesn't mean being open with people and telling your story doesn't mean that you tell every person you meet your entire story. This is not appropriate. It's not helpful. And this is why guidance is important. One of the things that happens with people in recovery is they lose the filter, lose the ability to stop ourselves from sharing everything. We tell people some stuff and then go, oh, geez, did I really say that? And really, sometimes it actually can scare some people. So we share where it's appropriate. And always where it's appropriate is where we're guided. where we're guided, and the guidance is always about being helpful. I'm going to share it because it's going to be helpful. So I may have a horrendous story from my past life that I shared when I did this with my sponsor, but I don't just go to a meeting or come to church and tell that story. However, I might tell it. I might actually tell it in public. If someone else in the gathering said something that then triggered that in my mind, and I knew that by sharing that story, it would be helpful in the moment. Otherwise, shut up. I mean, I have heard some things being said after people start getting open that I don't know if I can tell the story. I can tell some of the story, and you'll just have to let your imaginations go wild. I have a guy that I sponsor many, many years, and he told me a story that was, to him, very disturbing, and he was ashamed of, and it was sexually explicit, and he had said, of course, he was never going to tell anybody. He shares it with me, and I said, somebody else has already done it. Somebody else has already done it, okay? So if it makes you feel bad, don't do it anymore. And but a few months later, he was asked to speak at a dance. There were 200 people in the room, and he says it from the podium. And it was dead silence in the room. People there had their kids, their parents. And I'll just say this, it had something to do with animal husbandry. Not really, but you can get the gist of it if you think about it. So anyway, if it's not appropriate, don't share it. It's okay. Be quiet. We're going to consciously evolve through this process. Remember that what's going on here is we are actually a work in progress. We are this, and the progress is this. This is really important. We are progressing from this state of mind to a more, and I hate to even say more elevated, but more aware state of mind. We are progressing to a state of mind in which we will be ready to join back into the harmony of God. Because right now we're not. We really want to hold on to this world. We want to hold on to this experience. Even though we long for unity and harmony, we really want to hold on to this experience because every day the ego is promising and saying, I'm going to deliver this today, or this could happen, this, I'm going after this. And we take those things as being a little bit more important than unity and harmony. But this path is a way for us to continually move through and dismiss those temptations and continually move in this direction. So this bumper sticker that you may have seen many times, be patient with me, God is not finished with me yet. It's only a partial reflection of the truth, but the idea kind of helps. Creation is at work on us at a subconscious level and through us at a conscious level. So creation is moving in and through us. So God is not done with us. We're continuing to unfold and become that which we were designed to be. So what we find in the inventory, we find the things that we're good at, the things that we've accomplished. What we find is that those are the gifts that we are supposed to give to the world. And what we will see together as we move through this process is that those talents and abilities will come together. These powers that we are adding, that we are adding consciously, the power, faith, will, wisdom, understanding. There's 7 more. Those powers are like, they all have colors assigned to them. And those colors will eventually coalesce, go back together, and become the white light of Christ. That's the white light of the Christ in us. What's happening now is we act as a prism. The white light of Christ comes through us like a prism, and it breaks itself out into these 12 powers, these 12 colors. They are the talents that we bring to the world so that it can be coalesced back into that white light of love. We will recognize that much of the unfolding can be done through conscious thought and action on our part. When we see that we live and move and have our being in God, then we can open ourselves to this infinite field of possibility that lies in front of us that we have made. That infinite field of possibility where each choice either takes us closer to unity or a step away. But always remembering, we can make another choice. We're able to start making choices, taking actions that move us toward that which we truly desire. So I think that's an exciting idea. It's an exciting idea that we could have total freedom to be and to become what we are meant to be. And that every time we consciously extend love through creativity, through kindness, we evolve. We grow. We become. That's pretty good. That's enough.